Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 330.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are two crazy ketos. Thank you so much for letting us know. We're still working on sound stuff.
Yeah. Welcome back to the channel. So, the sound should be working now. I'll have to edit out that little bit in the beginning. But I had it muted. So, we're working on the internet, so let us know if we get some buffering or whatever. I have my backup internet here. Still trying to get our trees trimmed so that we can get like high-speed internet here.
Yes, we're working on that. No, I did not beat Joe in the head.
Yes, she did.
If that is what you are wondering, no, you have not been injured. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so...
Oh, I'm very injured.
Joe likes to go headfirst into any project that he's working on.
Well, I was working on the batteries on our RV yesterday, and it means tucking down underneath, and those batteries weigh about 100 and I think like 20 pounds.
Yes.
And so trying to bend down, lift over, I got it out, no problem. I worked on it, no problem. Then trying to lift it back in. I should have asked for help, but of course, I don't know how to ask for help.
Ask for help today. This is a cautionary tale. If you need help, ask for help.
You want to help cut down a tree?
I am going to help continue cutting down trees.
How about I give you the chainsaw and you cut down a tree?
I think that we would both be injured in that. But I can help you haul it. I do want to help people out before we get started today and let them know that the carnivore bar, the new flavors, honey heat and fajita, almost sold out. These are limited edition flavors. When they're gone, they're gone. So if you are interested in trying these, you may want to go ahead and place an order. We did leave a link in the description.
It's down below somewhere.
That's going to get you 10% off. Now, one thing that I noticed when we put the video out interviewing Philip, who's actually the inventor of the carnivore bar, that video came out on July 4th. Some people were like, gosh, too expensive. That sounds like, I checked it out, too much money for me. But I just want to make sure that we are comparing apples to apples and not being like, the admission into the local city carnival, way cheaper than admission to Disney World. And so I just don't think Disney World's for me because I could go to the city carnival and it would be way cheaper. So what is a carnivore bar? It is designed to deliver 6 ounces of ribeye, but like grass-fed, grass-finished.
Not ribeye, just beef.
No, but like in their own presentation, it's like what you need to compare it to.
Oh, yeah.
A 6-ounce ribeye from a premium organic rancher that's grass-finished, grass-fed. Okay. Yeah. So you want to just make sure that, gosh, it costs a lot more to buy a carnivore bar than it does to go through the drive-through of McDonald's.
Not necessarily.
And just get a few patties. So is this going to be for everybody? No, nothing is for everybody. But for some people, they need to have super clean ingredients. There's a lot of things that they've got to have eyes on. If you don't need something like this, take a moment today to just praise God that you don't have to curate things that are this sensitive to ingredients. Also, if you were to buy a 6-ounce grass-fed, grass-finished ribeye,
you're going to pay $10 anyway.
Well, it's going to be about $11 to $20. I researched it to just see what are current market prices. Also, it's not going to come packaged, shelf-stable, portable, none of those things.
Well, I mean, here's the thing is you may look at I don't know what the ounces are on these, but let's say this is 2 ounces. So let's say this is 2 ounces. Yeah, that's going to take 6 to 8 ounces of beef to make. Okay, because you have to dry it. Also, you've got to look at overall, we do have a recipe on how to make your own. We do. Now, you're not going to be able to make it for much cheaper unless you don't use grass-fed, grass-finished beef.
Right.
And if you don't use like a Wagyu tallow, a grass-fed, grass-finished tallow. If you just, go make your own tallow out of the beef suet and the beef fat that you get off of your brisket and just buy the cheapest cut of, beef that you can buy in a grocery store, what we call special meat. Yeah, you might be able to make it cheaper, but you also have to factor in the cost of running your dehydrator for the hours it's going to take to dry the beef, but it's just an option. We just like to present options. Exactly. Let's get into Keto Beyond the Couch. If you are new here, this is Keto Beyond the Couch. Keto Beyond the Couch is all about our subscribers. We like to do this every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern, live whenever possible. And it's just our chance to celebrate subscribers' wins and answer questions and comments from the last week that we found on our social media. So make sure you're leaving those comments and questions here on this video, or head over to our Mighty Networks group. It's completely free, members.2krazyketos.com, and you can leave your questions, your success stories, anything like that over there. We're going to jump right in. I should say, if you are new here, by the way, if you are new, we're going to basically go through what we have pre-programmed, our pre-scheduled stuff, and then we spend like the last 10 or 15 minutes addressing the chat. So if you have a question, hold off till then, or you can use the super chat function, which we really appreciate. When you do that, it benefits the channel, but more importantly, it is going to highlight on our screen so we can answer your question right away. We're going to start off with this one from Larry.
Hey, Larry.
Said, your diet is not only what you eat, it is what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, and the people you hang around. Be mindful of the things you put into your body emotionally, spiritually, and physically.
Wow, Larry, that'll preach. And it is so completely true. Your nutrition is very important. It's important for you to honor your body with what you know to be nourishing, nutritious food. I think that's a way to honor yourself. I think another way to honor yourself is to watch who you're hanging out with, what you're watching. Like, are you surrounding yourself with life-giving things, or are we stepping out and really making ourselves vulnerable to things that are just going to lead to anxiety and fear and depression? Like, are we doing our part to look around us and make sure that we're taking care of all those things?
Yeah. Next one we have is from Terry.
Hey, Terry.
Said, happy 4th of July, everyone. I did a thing today that might surprise you. I participated in a parade with my strength training fitness center.
How cool.
And yes, I even did squats for the world to see.
I love that. If you missed it, check out her post. I believe she put it in the Facebook family group, and it was awesome. Terry, just like, they're out in the street and her fitness class together, having so much fun in a July 4th parade, even doing like squats. And she posted the video. And to me, that is something truly to celebrate.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Next one is from Stacy.
Hey, Stacy.
A genuine non-scale victory. At the grocery store, I discovered a pebble in my shoe and I promptly removed it while standing in front of the butter cooler.
Woo-hoo.
Then replaced my tennis shoe without hesitation or need for assistance.
Wow.
This effortless act was a testament to the progress I've made in strength and flexibility, thanks to God, my ketogenic lifestyle, and gardening routine. And this is what we're talking about.
Yes.
You know, when we talk about share your story, it doesn't have to be I lost 500 pounds.
No.
It could be like, I remember the first time Rachel realized she could actually tie her own shoes.
This is so powerful. And, you know, Stacy is really zeroing in on something I think that's really important. And for all of us, it was funny that she mentioned this, because this past week we were out at a park. I had flip-flops on. Something got caught in my flip-flop. And it was the same thing. I was able to like just kick it off, move it, like bend down, put my shoe back on. And we take that for granted many times. And a lot of times go back to complaining what we're dissatisfied with.
Yeah.
Right? Still angry at myself, still not where I want to be. But there was so many years where I couldn't take care of myself in like basic ways. I really needed assistance for doing things like that. And I don't need that assistance anymore.
Yeah.
Let's take a victory lap on that.
John wants to know, do we have an electric or gas chainsaw? I have multiple gas chainsaws. I always use still, but we gave whatever we had to Anthony when he took over the landscaping business. So since I'm not like a full-time landscaper anymore, I bought Husqvarna's because they're half the price. And they are very good chainsaws. So I have one of them I've got to try to disassemble. There's a fuel leak. I think it's a bad line.
Dead.
But we have like a 16-inch Husqvarna, a 20-inch, and we just bought a 24-inch. That tree, if you saw the video that I took down, was 34 inches across. Mm-hmm. So we needed a larger bar. It's pretty heavy holding. Because it's a 24-inch bar chainsaw.
And if you didn't see on Instagram, I showed like John Paul, Joe putting the tree down, like letting the tree fall.
You were worried.
I was very worried. I'm very proud of you for doing that. But it was just really awesome to see you continue to do things for yourself that I know that's important for you. We talk about functional fitness. Why are you making that investment? Why are you strength training? Why are you walking around? Why are you doing exercise? It's so that when you want to do something for yourself, by yourself for a long period of time, you can still do that thing. I know that in your 50s, you don't want to tap out of you being able to do things like manly things, right, for yourself. And it's nice that you don't have to pay somebody else to do those things.
Yeah, somebody did comment that like it can be dangerous. I have been cutting down trees since I was about 10 years old, my dad, so I know exactly how to place them. I also was a landscaper for over 20 years, so I'm used to taking down trees and things like that. Most of the time they were palm trees, not big giant oak trees.
Yeah.
But that one, I think it may have gotten hit by lightning at some point, and so it had to come down. We have 2 more that I need to take down. Actually, we have one that I'm going to take down and one that I'm going to take down half. And then we're going to hire somebody to take down the other half because it splits at the bottom. And one half kind of leans towards the house, and I don't feel comfortable taking it down. It's going to have to come down in pieces.
You're going to need multiple people to hold on to it.
Well, it needs to come down in pieces. You need somebody to climb the tree and kind of top it, or come in with like, a cherry picker or something like that. Next one we have is from Edward.
Hey, Edward.
He said the first pick here was from 2017. The second pick was from the low carb cruise of 2025. Almost 200-pound loss combined.
I love you, Edward. I just love this couple so much. And talk about living their best life, enjoying their marriage, enjoying their friendship, doing cool things. I remember they were getting back on the low carb cruise after a complete day of whale watching and like all kinds of animals.
I was a little jealous.
I was super jealous. They were going on an incredible excursion. But really what was just so cool is them talking about all the things that they can do now, that they've cruised for a long time, but it's just so different now.
Yeah.
It's really different.
If I would have known that, I know it was an expensive excursion, but if I would have known that excursion that they did was what they did, I probably would have spent the money on that one, because what they did was when we went to the Dawes Glacier.
And we did the 360.
We did the 360. They then got off the boat into a little tiny boat and then cruised for like 4 hours in a little tiny boat down through the pass and met us in Juneau.
Right.
And I'm like, wait, what? Wait, you mean like you got to like literally go like right up to the glacier in a little tiny boat and then spend 4 hours driving not in a giant cruise ship, but in a little tiny. That would have been awesome.
That was rad.
Next one is from Caprice.
Hi, Caprice.
Joe and Rachel said on Keto Beyond the Couch they wanted folks to share their journey pics. Yes, we do. But I don't see a designated place for that. And you would do that anywhere in Mighty Networks, just on the main homepage or whatever.
Just post the picture.
So I'm going to drop a pic here. Please let me know if there's somewhere else I'm supposed to do this. You did it perfect. And look at this.
Amazing.
I mean,
night and day. Like, you do not look like the same person at all. What an incredible, incredible victory. So proud of you. And I really appreciate you putting the years to go through this, because there's so much hope there. You're seeing 2001, 2023. You're seeing a snapshot of the fact that life is not a 1 year thing. Right? I mean, we talk about like how fast can the weight loss happen? I love the fact that 20 years later, you're living your best life. Right? I mean, that is the goal. The goal is not to have an amazing year and then not be able to hold on to that victory and not continue to pursue better health. Like, that is incredible. Thank you.
John said, why do we sometimes gain weight overnight, which is the topic we're going to be talking about in a little while. Said because the scale is evil. That is true.
Truly.
And I did see Larry. I just wanted to read this. He said, it's such a blessing to be a member of this 2KK tribe, an even bigger blessing when something I post is shared here. Thank you, God, Joe and Rachel. Be safe and share your mess. It becomes a message.
Amen. It definitely does. Larry, I love you so much.
Next one we have is from Cindy.
Hey, Cindy.
Just completed 30 days of beef, butter, bacon, and egg. I'm down 11.8 pounds and
Incredible.
9 inches overall. I'm 67. I've lost 100 pounds that has been maintained for the last 3 years.
That is absolutely amazing. And I'm thinking when you're talking about like 9 inches, you're talking about 11 pounds, it's been 30 days. Chances are a lot of that is inflammation that needed to leave the building because it can add up to some real problems in our body. You know, when we hold on to inflammation, that, I mean, we just talk about like water weight, or we just talk about inflammation as if it is not super dangerous.
Yeah.
It is super dangerous.
Yeah, it can lead to a lot of different issues. Now, if you're new and you're curious, what is beef, butter, bacon, egg, or what is BBBE? It's basically an elimination diet. It's you do it for 30, 60, 90 days, and it's just a way of eliminating all of the noise.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing really miraculous about beef, butter, bacon, and egg. You know, it's literally a stricter version of carnivore. It's where you're just going to take out anything that, for the most part, can cause inflammation, can cause issues, and it's a way that you can figure out what is it that's exactly causing issues. Maybe, you know, you're having some histamine issues, so you're eliminating all of that stuff, because some of the things that you are eliminating that you would maybe be allowed to have on carnivore is dairy. And I'm not going to say dairy is bad, because I don't think all dairy is bad. I think that dairy is one of those things, like, don't overdo it like I do. But dairy in itself is something that is carnivore, but on beef, butter, bacon, egg, you're not consuming any dairy other than butter. And I would say, my personal opinion, I don't really consider butter dairy, because you're literally just eating a whole bunch of fat. It's not like you're drinking milk or anything like that. But it is just a great way to kind of dial in things, eliminate things that maybe you were binging, and then after that, you can slowly introduce things and see like what really bothers you.
I think that it's a little bit miraculous in the fact that I think many times we know what we need to let go of. We know what we'd like to take a break from, and getting the resolve to do that is very hard. We may wake up every single morning. Maybe this is Monday morning, and that's usually the time where I'm like, this is going to be the week I don't eat this or that.
Right.
And then as the week goes on, it creeps back in, and it can be really frustrating. So I think it's a miraculous thing when you've decided to partner with your own resolve and say, you know what? I am only going to eat these things. I'm going to focus on what I can have, and be positive about it and be decisive about it. And so it makes it a lot easier when it comes to decision making over those things that we know we need to eliminate or take a break from.
Yeah. Next one is from Josh.
Hey, Josh.
I've been using my flat top grill a lot lately, and it just dawned on me that I might be using the wrong oil. Is avocado oil a good option over the normal peanut, vegetable, canola oils, or is it the same processed junk? And any, obviously, butter would be better, but looking for something with a higher smoke point.
Great question.
This is a really good question. Avocado oil is great for a grill. Honestly, I'm going to tell you that avocado oil is probably the best oil to be using on your grill, on your flat top, unless if you are trying to like season it or preserve it after a cook. Because avocado oil actually has a higher smoke point than those other ones. Now, when you're doing your cooking itself, you can use butter, but as you said, it has a very low smoke point. And you can also use tallow. I would not season your grill like the initial when you first buy it. And we have a video on this, but I would not season it with bacon grease or beef tallow. It's not going to give you the same preservation. Also, especially bacon grease, you're dealing with sugars, so it could lead to kind of like stickiness that's on there, the preservatives that are in bacon. So for the initial season and after you're done cooking, avocado oil is the best oil. Now, is it processed garbage? Some of them are, I find the Chosen Foods one is a very good, reputable brand. Some of the cheap ones that you buy in a grocery store, like I would not go to H-E-B or Publix and buy the avocado oil that's on the shelf unless it's like Chosen Foods or something. But there are some really good brands that aren't like fake oils being disguised as avocado oil. You just kind of have to do a little bit of research. But I do know that the Chosen Foods one is a good, reputable version. But it is great for cooking with. It, that's what we pretty much use. We have a jug of it that we keep underneath our grill. Next one is from Cheryl.
Hey, Cheryl.
I need sardine help. Why? I bought the cheap ones packed in water, and I tried to sneak them into my ground meat like I do with chicken livers. Did not work. No. I don't remember the actual taste. The smell just made it taste bad. Ick. I was looking around today and found brizzling sardines and olive oil, and I'm wondering if they're any better. Also found kippers,
Love
herring,
kippers.
and anchovies. I've only had anchovies as part of Caesar dressing. I am trying to up my omega-3 and would rather eat it than take a pill. I like tuna, but I'm looking for fattier fish, preferably canned. I liked the first can of salmon I got, but not the last couple. Wish I could remember the brand. Okay, so when it comes to sardines, water is better than oil, just because you're better off, like you don't know the quality of the oil. But don't feel bad if you're buying sardines in olive oil. Like it's better than sardines in canola oil.
Right, I was going to say, make sure there's not a blend.
Yeah, so, but overall, you're better off with sardines in water or, any kind of canned fish that comes in water if you can find it. But if you can't, just make sure you're looking for ones that are in olive oil or even avocado oil or things like that. Are they going to taste any different? You might get a little bit more of an oily taste, but it's not going to make it any easier to hide. If you're like me and you don't like sardines, you just don't like sardines. I would say the way Rachel likes to prepare them,
yes,
that can hide the taste, but don't do it in the house.
Right. No. So my recommendation is going to be have a little burner, or you could do it, on a griddle or something outside. But I like that Walmart sells a little $10, $11 single burner. I will take it outside and plug it in, use a pan, and I cook my sardines in butter or beef tallow. One of those things, like a shallow fry that I do them. And they are delicious. If you've ever had like fish tacos or something, it really gets a nice crisp outer skin on those sardine fillets. I'm not somebody that likes to eat, the whole fish with the head on it and all that kind of stuff, but I do like the fillets, and I find that is super, super tasty.
Now, excuse me, as far as salmon, look for fattier salmon like sockeye salmon. Also, when you're buying salmon, make sure you are not buying Atlantic salmon. So Atlantic salmon is all going to be farm raised. You don't want it. Ew. They're fed all kinds of antibiotics, and they're like, it's just disgusting if you look up farm raised fish. So you want to buy Pacific wild caught salmon, and that's going to be the best way. The other thing, we do have a video coming out. We may even be releasing it later on today. But we have a video coming out talking about like omega-3, omega-6, that kind of stuff. You can't out-eat a bad omega-6 ratio.
No.
Okay, so if you're consuming a lot of seed oils, which is going to really escalate your omega-6, you can't out-eat that. You can't possibly eat enough fish to bring that in balance.
Right.
So the better thing to do, I'm not saying not to eat fish, the better thing to do, though, is to lower the amount of omega-6 that you're consuming. And you can do that by eliminating seed oils, by eating pasture-raised, real, true pasture-raised eggs, not ones that are in the grocery store labeled as free range, but real, true, farm-raised, pasture-raised eggs. Those are the ways that you can help to eliminate or lower your omega-6 consumption. Next one we have is from Jackie.
Hey, Jackie.
I'm looking for reviews of Equip Prime Protein Power, vanilla grass-fed beef. Currently, I'm using Simple Eats vanilla, and I love it, but not sure that the whey protein agrees with my digestive system. For those who have tried it, does it blend well, and does it have any aftertaste? So we actually have a review video for Equip. We have a discount link. If you use the link down below, I think you save 10 or 15%. Not quite sure, but you get money off. So any beef protein, whether it be the Keto Chow Core or the Primal version or the Equip, when it comes to blending, you're going to need a really good blender or use warm water. Usually you're going to need to use warm water because the cold water just makes it clump a little bit. Now, again, if you use a blender, that can help, but warm water with beef protein is going to be your friend. So if you want to make it cold, use warm water and then stick it in the refrigerator. Overall, Equip is a really good, clean protein powder. And if you didn't know, the Keto Chow Core is pretty much the same beef protein, only you're getting all
electrolytes
of the vitamins, minerals, and electrolytes that you would want along with it. But it's very much the same, and it's the same thing. You need to use warm water for it. The reason the whey protein is probably not agreeing with you is because it's pretty much like a milk kind of protein. So it's just something to think about. But I would, if you are going to use a beef protein, the two that I recommend would be Keto Chow Core or the Equip.
And I recommend using beef tallow as a fat source with that Keto Chow Core because it's freaking delicious, especially with the chocolate.
Michelle, what is the best CGM and how do I get it? Dr. Vaughn's convinced me to try one, but I didn't get lucky on the cruise. Okay, so Dr. Boz was giving out, this is why you want to go on the low carb cruise.
Very generous.
She was handing out Dexcom G7s. They are ridiculously expensive. She was also handing out the old ones, which is, I think she had a bunch of them because the new ones go longer. But if you're looking for a Dexcom G7, you're looking at about $500 for it. So a couple things you can do. Rachel, close your ears. Go to your doctor. Tell your doctor you want a CGM. Your doctor's probably going to say, no, you're not a type 1 or type 2 diabetic. You don't need it. So then what you're going to do is you're going to say to your doctor, Rachel, cover your ears. You're going to say to your doctor, hey, can you please do me a favor? I know that I have metabolic syndrome. How do you know that? Because everybody has metabolic syndrome. Okay. I know I have metabolic syndrome and I want to keep an eye on my glucose and avoid and just track what's going on with my body. So I would like a CGM so that I can follow that because I don't want to stick my finger all the time. And I'm willing to pay for it personally. So since you won't give it to me, can you please notate my records, my medical records, that you are denying me? And now I want a copy of that right here and now. Watch how fast he'll write you that prescription. Because essentially what you're telling him is, if I get diabetes, I am going to sue you.
Right.
I'm going to sue you if I get diabetes because you stopped me from having a tool that could have helped me watch my blood sugar. If you don't want to go through that, like Rachel,
I don't want to go through that.
There is a link down below for Tastermonial. You can go to them. Tastermonial will write you a prescription for, I think it's $39 for 1 month, which you don't need a lot of them, or like $99
Maybe
for
just
6 months.
trying to check on it.
And then you can get that filled at your local pharmacy. They'll even call it in your pharmacy. Or you can go directly and you can get both Dexcom and Abbott, which makes the Freestyle. They have an over-the-counter, but I don't think that the over-counters are personally as good as the ones that require a prescription. They turn off the alerts on them. With the Freestyle one, they actually have a lower limit. So like on the Dexcom on the Freestyle Libre 3, it goes all the way down to like 50. I think on the over-the-counter one, it's like 70. It won't show you anything below 70. Well, I got news for you. If you're on keto, many times you're going to have a glucose lower than 70. You may want to see that.
Right.
So that's why I would go with the prescription version. But those are 3 ways that you can get one if you don't have like any kind of doctor that will give you a prescription for it. But as far as the Dexcoms are going to be the best, but they're so ridiculously expensive. And I personally don't think you need it unless you are a type 1 type diabetic or a type 2 diabetic that is using it for dosing.
I think that Chris is making a really good point there. For some people, the most aggravating thing about a CGM, though, is that alert that happens at night because we're keto. And we will have appropriately so, are glucose like dip
right,
really low. And so
which you can turn them on, turn those alarms off so long, but you can't turn it if it goes below 50.
Right.
For most of us,
yeah,
it's not going to go below 50.
no.
Let's see. I got to find where we were. Next one is from, okay, so it's this one.
Hey,
this one's from us.
You posted this. Good job.
So here's a little picture. Florida wants to change the rule. Here's the current rule. Here's the proposed rule. The FDACS is seeking to change the definition of what dressed poultry is. The current definition follows the USDA standards, which is fully eviscerated and ready to cook, with no head, no feet, and no intestines. The new definition in Florida would make dressed poultry slaughtered poultry for human food with the head, the feet, and the viscera, the intestines, intact, and from which the blood and feathers have been removed.
This is a move to make it so that you're not basically buying things from a family farm or small farm. It's a push out the small farmer.
So they have had a hearing on this. This was kind of slipped in, and it's going to get voted on. And then there was a hearing, and their answer was, we hear you. We're going to rewrite it. You're misunderstanding. I don't think we're misunderstanding.
I don't think we're misunderstanding.
I've also got to be careful to not put this on our farm channel because I don't want the FTACS to come after us. But so why are they doing this? It's money, guys. And I'm asking you, whether you're in Florida or not, make sure that you're following these things and getting a hold of your local Department of Agriculture and your, congressmen and assemblymen going, we want to buy stuff from local family farms. The word on the street is the person who's in charge of the FDACS was a poultry farmer. And so he's protecting his buddies because they're saying this is to make it safer and healthier for people who want to buy from family farms. Here's the problem. You are trying to convince us that selling you a chicken that still has the intestines in it
is going to be safer.
Is safer. That's where all the E. coli could be.
Yeah.
There is nothing that's going to make this safer.
Yeah.
This is about cutting out the small farm because they say if you are a small farmer like us, you can get the other license that would allow you to remove the intestines, remove the head and feet, and you could even then cut it into quarters like, breasts and thighs and all that. Only problem is that would cost over $100,000. So this is simply a way to make us as consumers buy from the grocery stores and companies like Purdue and Tyson and all that.
Because I think about,
hopefully they do reword this before it goes into law.
Because I think about people who may have listened to our presentation on the low carb cruise and are giving small family farms a chance. If I go out to a small family farm and I'm just now like dipping my toe into not buying every single thing from a grocery store, and I see a chicken with a head on it, like
nobody is going to buy that.
That's my biggest fear.
Even if I sneakily cut out the intestines, nobody's buying a chicken from me with the head and the feet off.
Going to scare
you
newbies.
Wouldn't even butcher it until I cut the head off.
That's gonna scare newbies. It really is. So, it's sad. This is sad. And I think it's also important while you're looking into what your state allows, look and see, does your state even allow people to raise their own backyard chickens?
Yeah.
I mean, we were absolutely shocked when we were moving. There are so many counties in the state of Florida, and we were absolutely shocked at how many counties with great big properties were not allowing people to not just not have rooster, but not be able to raise chickens at all.
Yeah.
And it was really, truly shocking because what does anybody care if a family has a small backyard flock?
Well, they say noise and.
But I'm talking about, we looked into counties where
we looked into counties
5
that
to 10
acres.
acres.
Yeah.
So you have a 5 to 10 acres, and you're telling me that not only can I not have like backyard chickens, but I can't even have just backyard hens with no rooster?
Right.
Like, that's crazy. Obviously, I'm only trying to provide my own eggs.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Carrie said, I can have chickens where I live. I just can't have. I can
There you
understand
go.
the rooster. They
Totally
are noisy.
fine with that.
I personally love hearing the roosters, but I can understand the rooster because roosters answer other roosters.
Sure.
So when our rooster hears one of our neighbors' roosters and that sound can go a long way, they will tend to answer the other roosters. So I can understand that. But I just wanted to bring this awareness. I know this isn't our farming channel, but this does really apply to all of us because the next thing is you're going to find it with local ranchers who want to raise beef and stuff. They, like, this kind of becomes a snowball effect.
Right.
Because the only other option would then be to, basically when we slaughter our chickens, we have to take them into a processor and have the processor. The other thing that I thought at first it was good because the way the law works, in order to sell eggs, you can't sell them in a container. They have to be open air or in a flat. However, they have to be washed, they have to be bleached and refrigerated. But now they're leaving that part in, but they're allowing you. Not only are they allowing you, they're making you sell them in cartons, but they have to be brand new, unused cartons with a label. Well, that's going to add another $1.25 to a dozen eggs. So if you have a backyard farmer who is selling eggs legally, the cost of their eggs is going to go up by $1.50.
And we know a lot of people, a lot of local, farmers that use like the plastic reusable
No, you won't
egg
be able to
containers,
use that.
and now you won't be able to do
They
that.
won't be able to use that. It will have to be brand new cartons, which I buy them in bulk. They're 79 cents a piece. And then from there, and that's if you buy 250 of them. And then from there, you'd have to buy the labels. Plus, again, they have to be bleached and all that kind of stuff. So this is their way of just working the small farmer out. Because understand, like backyard, if you're paying $4 or $5 a dozen for backyard eggs, you're getting a deal because it cost me almost $3 a dozen to get those eggs.
Right.
Let's take a quick fade to black.
And we're back.
Okay, next one is from Cindy.
Hey, Cindy.
Last night, I dreamt I was eating mounds of Rice Krispie treats. At the end of my dream state, I thought, wow, that was a lot of carbs I just ate. I'm going to have really messed up my progress.
Aww.
This morning when I got up, I weighed myself and I found I gained 2 pounds. You can gain weight by dreaming? ?
Wow.
No, you can't. Now, there is something called there is something called the cephalic insulin response, which is kind of still a theory. Okay, you hear a lot of people talk about this. The cephalic insulin response is basically that if your taste buds taste something sweet, it will release a little bit of insulin
to deal with it
in the anticipation that it is getting sugar. Okay, so that's what it is. It's still a little bit of a theory because there's no real easy way to measure it. Along with that theory, the theory is that if you smell or see, smell, or think about something that has sugar, that you will also have an insulin response. An insulin response in itself is not going to make you gain weight. It's that's not how it works. You would have to have a lot of insulin reaction to gain weight because insulin is a fat storing hormone, but you'd have to, what's going to happen if you do have a cephalic insulin response, it's going to be a little bit of insulin and your body's going to be like, oh, I don't need any, and it stops. So you're going to gain weight if you eat a, actual bowl of Rice Krispie treats, then you're going to have a big insulin response, but not from just dreaming about it. So why do we gain weight when we're sleeping? It has nothing to do with your dream. It has nothing to do with insulin. It most likely doesn't even have anything to do with you ate too late. It could, but most of the time that you're going to gain weight overnight is simple water. And especially women, it's hormonal. So
yay,
you go through menstrual part, whatever your part of your menstrual cycle is. You have to deal about the phases of the moon. And so that is why, on average, your weight is going to fluctuate about 5 pounds throughout the day. And for women, it could be even more. This is why I have literally gone to the bathroom and then weighed an hour later and weighed more than when I went to the bathroom.
But how? I evacuated that water.
Because it's all about water retention and everything else. So I would not freak out about it, and I would stay off the scale.
Yeah.
And if you are going to use a scale, I would not weigh more than once a day. I would weigh a little bit after you get up, after you go to the bathroom, and then I wouldn't even weigh once a day. I'd maybe weigh a couple times a week at most, and then follow trends. Don't look at the number.
I think it's interesting that when we have a baby, we have like schedules of weighing them. And we know that we are very interested in their growth and their development, right? I mean, it's very important. I want to know more than I even want to know with myself. I want to know, how is this baby growing, right? That seems right and reasonable to care about a baby. And yet, I don't ever see parents like setting up the scale in their house and 10 times a day being like, anything happen yet? Anything happen? Anything going on? What's going on? Anything happening? Except for that's what we do to ourselves, right? What would happen if you did follow that protocol with a baby? You would make yourself completely a neurotic parent. It would scare you. If the baby was up, you're like, is that too much now? If the baby was down, you're like, did they not eat enough? Oh my gosh, right? So we will develop that same level of crazy for ourselves.
Yeah.
When it comes to overweighing. My recommendation, if you want to continue using the scale, would be have a once a month weigh-in.
Yeah.
Isn't once a month, we have a period once a month, right? Once a month, decide. And I'm going to say, if you're a lady, make it your best week. We all know that there's a week when you feel better than you do the rest of the month.
Yeah.
Right?
I would even say once a week is more than enough. But if you're going to do it daily, which a lot of people, we're never going to convince people to not do it.
No.
If you're going to do it daily, one time a day. Don't go ballistic and every time you put something in your mouth, gain weight. Because then we just get neurotic. Speaking of neurotic, nothing to do with this. I have to just comment on an article that I read coming out of California. California is becoming Florida. You know, like Florida, man. Like everything bad happens in Florida. Now it's like everything bad happens here in California. So a couple just got convicted. They were vegan fruitarians. And let me know in the comment section in the chat that you saw this.
Fruitarian.
For basically malnourishment on their baby, that they were so neurotic that they said that even breast milk was toxic for their baby. And they were basically feeding the baby fruits and vegetables and putting it in saunas and ice baths and then starving it because the baby had gotten sick. And they said that the best way to
was fasting,
get rid of the sickness was to starve their baby. And that has resulted in a child now that is a quadriplegic and can't talk and can't see. That's just neurotic.
It is, as we're thinking that this is unimaginable.
But this is where we can head sometimes.
But think about this. When you are deciding what you're going to do for yourself and how you're going to talk to yourself and how you're going to treat yourself, remember you are someone's baby. You are somebody's precious child. And if you can't even wrap your mind around that because of previous relationships with parents, you are God's child. You are God's child. You are precious. And whatever you're doing to yourself, you need to keep that in mind. That if you cannot treat yourself well because you have your own personal self-preservation and desire to love yourself and care for yourself, remember when you're doing something, nourish yourself because you know you're God's child. Exercise, move your body because you know you're God's child. Talk to yourself sweetly because you are God's precious child. Like, think of that. I think that sometimes when I am the most hard on myself and I just want to kick myself and be down on myself and be like, you are not where you're supposed to be, Rachel. The one thing that pulls me out of that quicksand is to think that my mother loves me.
Yeah.
I am Sarah's child, and Sarah would not want me to talk to myself like this. Or sometimes I think I am God's precious child, and he don't want me punching on Rachel like I'm doing right now.
Now, the reason I bring this up, because when I first read the article, it's when I first started reading the article, till I saw the part where they were starving the kid to starve a cold. And the saunas and the ice baths. Like, who would think that you should put a few week old baby in an ice bath or a sauna? But before I read that, I was like, wait a second. They're being prosecuted, and they were, and convicted for malnourishment because they were feeding their baby fruits and vegetables or just fruits. And that scared me a little bit, that like, oh my gosh, would they come after us if we decide we're only going to feed our children meat? That's where, but see, they just took it to a whole nother level. But it just kind of raised that concern in me that, like, well, what if you have somebody who wants to feed their baby keto and you get someone going like, well, that's going to cause issues.
I think it's going to be a nourishment issue. I think they're going to evaluate that child, and that child is going to be actually nourished.
The reason I was saying this is, if you are feeding your children a proper human diet, don't announce to the world, I only give them meat.
Probably not.
I would just say, we just don't eat grains and we don't eat sugar.
Yeah.
We don't eat overly processed food. What does your baby eat? What does your child eat? We don't eat sugar and we don't eat overly processed food. And nobody needs to know any more than that.
Yeah.
That's the reason I bring that up, because it scared me seeing that part. Then I looked at the rest of the article and I'm like, okay, well, at least these people were crazy. What really upset me is that the most they can get is 12 years. Okay, next one. I think, yes, this one. Sorry. Next one is from Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
Hey, everyone. I'm committing to doing beef, butter, bacon, and egg plus electrolytes starting Tuesday through my birthday in September. That is awesome. I want to prove to myself that I can do hard things, and that diet drinks, coffee creamer, and sugar-free candy are not the boss of me.
Get it, girl.
I'm going to go back and watch Joe and Rachel's Beef, Butter, Bacon, and Egg playlist, work on the grocery list. I would appreciate any tips you all have for you all who have done this before.
Vicky, thank you for taking us with you along on this journey. And I'm going to say, when you're going to the grocery store, find some opportunities to treat yourself with the cuts of meat you really enjoy. Some of the things that we did on beef, butter, bacon, and eggs for me, like now that we, when we go, do it over and over again, I know I love certain steaks and I love ground beef more than I like roasts. So on roasts day, I feel the weight of elimination more than I do when I am eating ground beef or I'm eating a steak. And again, I've given you that variation because obviously ground beef is going to be cheaper than me getting myself a ribeye, right? Obviously. But that's something I learned about myself. I kind of came to roast day, and Joe kind of likes roast a little bit more, so it's fine. We're together, so we need to be fair in what we have, my turn, your turn. But I found that was important to me, that when it was roast day, I was kind of like, as opposed to when there was ground beef day, I'm like, like this is easy. I like it.
Ground beef is my favorite. And then I actually like roasts better than steaks, depending on how the roast is cooked, especially if you take a roast and then put a hollandaise sauce over it, which is, by the way, beef, butter, bacon, and egg. Here's my suggestion if you're going to do beef, butter, bacon, egg. Always have ground beef cooked and prepped in the refrigerator.
Yes.
That's number one.
And boiled eggs.
And hard-boiled eggs. And just have fun with it. And also, in my opinion, Maria Emmerich's PSMF bread is acceptable on beef, butter, bacon, and egg, with one caveat. don't overdo it. Don't do what we did. I think it was the first or second time
the
around
drive-by
where it
butter.
became nothing more than a conveyance of butter.
Right.
That it is something that, like, if you want to just, okay, I'd like to have like a roast beef sandwich, fine. But don't eat an entire loaf of Maria Emmerich's bread in a day, because you're basically just getting a whole bunch of protein with no fat when you do that. And it's going to really fill you up and you're not going to be able to get in the fat that you need.
I also think, and this is a great time to do any type of elimination. This is just a great time of year, summertime. While you're practicing any form of elimination, you need to find a way to celebrate life, celebrate adulting, and treat yourself. And I'm going to advise you, go look for some fun adventure. Be like, okay, I am keeping my food very simple. And so I am, on my day off, going to treat myself to going to a museum, going to go see art, going and having, go play mini golf, go do something fun, because that really can be the challenge. It has to do with your attitude, right? So if your attitude is deprivation, oh my gosh, I'm doing this to myself, everything is so hard. And I think it's really important for you to say, hey, I can, stress myself with hard things by doing something like an elimination protocol. But while you're doing this hard thing, also be doing a joyous thing.
Yeah.
Take a pottery class, do something different.
Next one is from Amy.
Hey, Amy.
Can someone tell me how to get onto the Mighty Networks group? I search for meatheads and nothing comes up. So what you need to do is you head over to members.2krazyketos.com. That is our free group. Now, when you first sign up, you need to do it on an internet browser.
Right.
You cannot join on the app. So you can download the Mighty Networks app, just like the Facebook app or that kind of stuff. You can go over members.2krazyketos.com. If you're not signed up at all in Mighty Networks, right there, it's going to give you the option of, do you want the free plan? Do you want to join the Meatheads group? Do you want to join the family group? Those groups have everything the free group has, but also, like, Wednesdays, Rachel does a live stream at 10 a.m. And, we're trying to come up with some other things that we can put in there. So if you're in those groups, go add some stuff in there of, like, extra things that we could offer to you. But that's your way of supporting us. And honestly, it's $5. It's $5.
That's pretty good.
And for $5, you get Rachel every week, not just in Rachel talking nonsense about nut milk bags, but Rachel actually giving you a really good lesson that, honestly, if we were doing it as like a coaching lesson for somebody, it would be $150 lesson. And you're getting that for $5 a month. You're getting 4 of them.
I'm a cheap date, guys.
So John said, why does Mighty Networks app hate Android users? I don't know. I find a lot of the apps hate Android users. For some reason, they always come out on Apple first. I don't think it's fair. The reason we make it so that you can't sign up for Mighty Networks on the app is, if we do, then we have to raise the price by 30%, even the free version. We'd have to charge you money because not us, they charge you more money. So a $10 a month membership would now cost $13. And I think that's nonsense. And the way around it is you sign up online on members.2krazyketos.com. Now, if you're already in Mighty Networks, what you want to do is head over to if you're looking at your screen, the left-hand side, there's a whole thing, and you'll see groups. Go pick the group you want. When you click on it, it says, do you want to join? So that's how you join. Next one is from Deanie.
Hi, Deanie.
I had been in a stall for months on keto. Then I started to gain a little weight. I thought maybe a sugar fast would kick me into losing. So I was one of those who tried it. I thought I would try it for a week and then weigh myself, but I gave into the scale on day 6 instead. I'm so glad I didn't wait because I had gained 7.5 pounds.
Sorry, Deanie.
I immediately went back on keto, and after 4 days, I've lost 7.7 pounds. Lesson learned.
Deanie, thank you for your honesty. I truly believe that this mess that you just went through will be a message to others. And I think that's really important. If we've learned that, hey, there is a pothole in the road, somebody else, if I tore my tire up, at the very least, I don't feel like I want everybody behind me to tear their tire up too, right? So letting people know this is a pothole. This isn't the salvation that people are thinking it's going to be. It's not going to be the quick fix. It's not going to be the health hack that people are hoping it's going to be. This is going to derail you. This is going to hurt you. You don't want to do this. And so I really thank you for sharing that. I think that sometimes we can't help ourselves, and I am tremendously guilty over the years of thinking, okay, well, maybe I'm ready for something to change. And you try something and it doesn't work out. I think you pivoted perfectly. All right, I wanted to dip my toe in and see if that would do something. It didn't. I wanted to see if the grass is greener on the other side. I find in my, past mistakes I've made, Joe, that usually the grass is greenest over the septic tank. Yeah. Has been the lesson that I've learned.
Next one is from Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
I'm curious about the Savage system that you mentioned. I'm 56. I have osteoporosis in my hands, my hips, and my plus sciatica. I also have 70 pounds to lose. In your opinion, would I benefit from Robert's training even though I don't plan on competing? Thank you. Yes. So there's a link for the Savage system down below. You will see where okay, this is for bodybuilders. It's not.
Tracy, you're
bodybuilders
trying to
are
using
body. It, and it will help you do everything that you're trying. It will help you with building muscle and toning. The AI that he had written for it is amazing. And that is one of the reasons that Rachel did it, was to see okay, I don't want to look like Crystal. I just want to tone myself. I want to learn about eliminating things and finding my protein threshold and finding my fat threshold. And that's where it's really good. And then you get the weekly live with Robert, where you can just ask him all kinds of questions in the tribe meetings, which I think is on Tuesdays.
And he focuses on, he answers the question, he's checking in with every single person until they are satisfied and their needs are covered. And I think that is amazing. He takes a lot of time with it. I totally think it's worth it. Is it expensive? Yes. However, it's lifetime. You're not going to
10 coaching lessons with us, and we are underpriced.
Yeah.
Would be $750.
Sure.
So that would be just 10 lessons. Whereas
lifetime,
on average, just so you get an idea, on average, a health coach is going to be $100 to $150 for a 30-minute phone call.
And honestly, rightfully so. Why? Because they have to be reviewing your situation. They have to be preparing for the call. They have to be recording things down. There's all kinds of paperwork on the other side of any health coaching call. There is a lot going on. It's not a cheap service, because it shouldn't be a cheap service, right? So the fact that this is a one-time fee and you have this amazing access to this community.
You can go back to anytime you want.
And like I said, the AI alone is worth the price of admission, because not only can you just ask questions and it just a never-ending ask, but it will also develop meal plans for you based on your very unique needs, and then establish even cooking methods for you and a grocery list it'll spit out. And once I have argued with that thing, well, I don't like that cut of meat. I want the same type of macros, but re-switch it to another meat. And it will do that thing. It's incredible.
Last one is from JJ.
Hey, JJ.
I ordered an Instapot and a yogurt strainer, and I was just wondering if I can put the yogurt that I start with, but I bought from the store, in the freezer, and just use that for a second or third batch. Yes, you can. You can freeze yogurt. When you freeze the yogurt, the cultures freeze very well.
Yeah.
So JJ, by the way, I don't know if you noticed, put up a picture of you with the original one with your nut milk bag.
I love you, JJ. I miss your face so much, young man. I will say I had posted a thing, because Amazon Prime Day is happening. We are going to have some information out on that coming up. But because it's the 8th, I think that's tomorrow, actually.
It starts tomorrow.
I'm already seeing things like the Instapot, the Duo with the yogurt setting, because people ask us all the time, is there a deal on that? It's 50% off. Yeah. So use any one of our links, for Amazon, and then just go to Amazon and type in like Instapot Duo, and you're gonna see it's like 50% off right now.
So shameless plug. We're gonna get into the chat for a little bit. Shameless plug for Amazon Prime.
Do us a favor.
Do us a favor.
Please.
Go to our videos, go to our YouTube channel, go to our Amazon shop page. Click on any one of those links before you buy something on Prime.
Yeah, if you buy a shirt on Prime.
So click on any one of those links and then buy whatever you want on Prime. So just get yourself to Prime by clicking on one of those links first. It just gives us a couple of pennies to help pay for lights and that kind of stuff. And by the way, the pennies don't even come in the form of money. They come in the form of Amazon credit, which helps us to buy camera gear and like all of my cards. When we moved, I found out like this monitor, I had to go buy a brand new monitor. This monitor didn't make it, so we had to buy a new one. So like we really appreciate if you support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything other than a couple of seconds to click on one of our links. I know it's really shameless, but like it is our full-time job.
We gotta keep the lights on. And to me, that is like the easiest way. Like that is the easiest way to support us. If you buy anything on Amazon ever, just go click on one of our links and then go shop for whatever it is that you want. It doesn't have to be keto related. It doesn't have to be the thing that we are putting a link for. Like I said, go buy a shirt, buy your trash bags, like get a good deal, you know, on something that you're already going to purchase. And then it's a blessing.
Yeah, we're taking our granddaughter to a theme park on Sunday. Like we need to be able to afford carnivore bars because she's going to eat like 3 of them in one day.
Exactly.
Now, if you don't want to do any of that, we understand.
Totally.
But please at least help grow our channel by liking the videos and subscribing and also commenting on every single video.
That really helps.
Let's get into some of these comments. Evelyn said it's scary. I tried to look up this. Okay, she's just, there's a ton of, this one just recently happened. That one story. Amy said, day 2 of strict carnivore for 30 days for me. I can't believe I'm already seeing results.
It is amazing to see what happens when you rightfully notice like how much carb creeps in. It's so like covert. Carbs are like spies, like sneaking in. Right. And so you can think, boy, I feel like my eating plan is pretty solid. And then you do something like carnivore, or you do something like even stricter, like beef, butter, bacon, and egg, or sardines. And then you start to just see like the inflammation leave the building. And you're like, oh my gosh, like what all the heck was creeping in?
I'm going to be seeing some inflammation leave the building in my sauna today. I have a homemade sauna that right here in Florida.
Yes.
It's called a shipping container with no air conditioning in the full sun. You walk in there and you literally sweat out 10 pounds in 10 minutes.
Yes.
It's like, so if you want a sauna, don't go buy one. Just go sit in a shipping container in Florida and you've got a homemade sauna.
That'll do her.
Let's see. Mama Cat, after falling off the wagon and being run over far too many times, today is day 1 of keto again. My daughter-in-law who lives with us is doing it too.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm ready to feel better. Happy healing.
I think that is awesome. Congratulations. It does make things so much better when you don't feel like you are doing it alone. So I am going to encourage you, if you're like, you know what, I need to get a case of Do Better. We have an accountability group within the Mighty Networks. If you are somebody that's not like Mama Cat, you don't have somebody living with you that could do an elimination, challenge or do some sort of a movement challenge, go in there and find a partner. You don't have to have somebody in your local area to do things with. That's why we have the Mighty Networks. If you are not using the Mighty Networks to share your wins, to have good, rich conversations, to find out like, hey, what's an idea for a good lunch I can make today, and to challenge one another, it's a waste of our money. Because we paying for that to make it free.
We pay a ridiculous amount of money to run that Mighty Networks out.
So don't let this opportunity pass by. I'm also going to challenge you. If you're like, man, I'm ready to take a vacation, but I want the most bang for my buck, I'm going to challenge you to come on the 2KK cruise. It's not too late. You can still sign up for the cruise going on in December. You do not have to do the holidays alone. We've got actually 3 different routes you can take. You can do the entire cruise, the 4th through the 13th, or you could take 4th through the 13th, or you can take one of the legs, 4th through 8th, 8th through 13th. Come be with people. We need people. If you're like, man, I'm lonely, let's do something about it. Jump in that Mighty Network today. Start building community in your life today. It's not going to be a case of you sit in a corner for the rest of your keto journey and don't reach out. That's not everybody else's fault.
I did want to say that we have less than a month that we can hold on to whatever cabins we have.
Don't miss out.
I honestly would like to get more people to go because it would be more fun for everybody.
Sure.
The more people that we have. I think right now we're right around 50 people per leg. A lot of people are doing both. Some people are doing one. Some people are doing the other. But like I'd like to. We have to have a certain amount of cabins, which we do for the group
rate.
But it does make me think, like, should we even bother doing one next year? Is this something that people are still interested in doing these community cruises? But we only have about a month, and then we have to give back whatever cabins we have at the rates we have. So if it's something you're interested in,
don't miss out.
Use the link down below and let us know. Andy said very helpful with toxins and drainage of lymphedema water.
Yeah. Oh, I think she was talking about vibration plates.
Yes. She's getting her vibration plate.
She's going to be donating
giving
it
to her friend. Bob said, question, are you going to be able to go to Labadee on the 2KK cruise?
We're not sure yet.
We don't know. They haven't announced that far. I think they've only announced through August of what I hope so, because
I love Labadee.
I think Labadee is an amazing
That's
port.
one of my faves.
So I really hope so. They will change. They'll have us do something, especially since that's the only stop. And so we'll go somewhere else, but they have not yet announced anything. Yeah, Jeannie wanted to know how helpful are vibration plates. They can be very helpful for people, especially if you have lymphedema.
Yeah.
Yvonne, for yogurt, you
Yvonne.
can also freeze the whey. Yep. And that you strain off and freeze in a muffin pan as pucks and use those pucks as starter for the next batch. They will last forever in the freezer and they work great. If you have
Yvonne.
leftover, we always just give it to the chickens.
The chickens absolutely love the whey.
Anything else? I'm looking. Don't see any more comments.
All right.
Evelyn said, I need to get more healthy before I can commit to another cruise, but Carl says we should go on one of yours.
Oh,
yes,
thank you.
You guys should. You should absolutely come on the cruise.
We just love hanging out with you.
Because we loved hanging out with you guys. We had a blast hanging out with you guys. And again, we've got like ridiculously cheap rates. I mean, 2 people for as little as like $900. I mean,
oh wow, Lynn, yay! She's at the doctor's office. Weight down 22 pounds and blood pressure within normal limits. Happy early birthday to me! Congratulations, Lynn. That is incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Congratulations.
Okay, so we're gonna get off. So now again, don't forget, if you're a member of the Meatheads or Higher group, on Wednesday, 10 a.m. Eastern, Rachel will be doing a live. What's this week's topic?
I'm not telling.
You're not telling?
I'm not telling.
Okay. Also, I was going over the footage from our talk on the low-carb cruise and the shadows because they hadn't figured out how to turn on the lights yet when we spoke. So we're just going to re-record that sitting here in the studio. Let us know if should we even bother? Like, do y'all want to see our presentation but not from us on stage? Let us know. Also, not too late to get your tickets for Keto Orlando Summit. So Keto Orlando Summit is the first weekend of August. It's going to be a lot of fun. Maria Emmerich is going to be there. Dr. Boz is going to be there.
We're emceeing the gala.
Ben Azadi is going to be there.
We're going to be
Dr.
so fancy.
Kiltz is going to be there.
Don't miss it.
And I think this is like the last hurrah of this summit. So like definitely head on down. We're super excited for the Keto Orlando Summit. And then we will be back live on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Sabrina said your package should be arriving tomorrow. That would be good. Hopefully the post office doesn't lose this one. By the way, before we get off, update on the baby chicks that last week. They're still nowhere
to be found.
They have formed their own colony somewhere within the postal service.
That is where my mind has had to go to. That somewhere they have established their own town.
There are 50 baby chickens.
They have
in the back of a USPS truck.
They're their own government. They're like it's like a Toy Story. The toys have started their own independent colony. That's kind of where I'm at mentally.
So they're sending us new ones this week. Have a good day, guys. Bye.